Until recently, no scammer had ever uploaded a real virus to me. That was until I phoned one of these two numbers on a pop-up. I don't withhold my caller ID, and strangely within an hour of ringing one of those two numbers, a scammer named Ricky called me back. Ricky explained why he was calling me.
We have been reported is when one of those devices or your computer is infected or corrupted or compromised. That is when your IP address is compromised, and that's when you get this error message.
Right.
And this generally gets displayed by Windows Defender. I mean, this is generally what is reported to us whenever this sort of error message is displayed on a Windows computer.
Right.
If you want to go ahead, I can go ahead and check that for you. May I take your name, please?
Yeah, my name is Orson. Surname is Cart, C-A-R-T.
All right, Mr. Cart. The way that we can do this is through a remote access. I'll be able to diagnose your computer basically and check if there are any foreign connections available on your IP address. Open www.fastsupport.com.
So Ricky has lied to me several times at this stage already. He lied that it was a Windows Defender message when he probably knows that it's the title of his fake web page. He's also used a bit of technobabble saying that my IP address is corrupted. While it's possible to corrupt a machine, a device or a PC, it's certainly not possible to corrupt an IP address. Lastly, he stated that he was going to check for foreign connections. I reckon he's going to run the Netstat fraud. So I let him connect to my virtual machine and see what he does next.
Yes, I have the access of your computer.
No, right. Okay.
I need to check a few things. That is, I need to diagnose a few things.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And only then I'll be in a position to tell you if the IP address is an issue or not.
Once again, my IP address has nothing to do with any infections. It's all technobabble.
It'll take about 10 minutes. There's a Microsoft scan that I need to do. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I'll need to do is a netstat, which will be done on CMD.
I point out the JavaScript pop-up, which is clearly visible on the screen he's looking at, and I quiz him about what it means. I haven't noticed anything at all. And that's the first time I've seen that sort of error message.
Fair enough, sir. Leave the computer with me for about 10 minutes. I'll give you a call back.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thanks. Thanks, Anne. Bye. Bye. Instead of just pointing out that it's a fake message, he decides to run a file system scan. This will only check if the files and directories are intact and will do nothing to identify any kind of virus. As the scan continues, I notice a second person connecting to my virtual computer. Ricky does call back sometime later, and he explains that it's probably a network issue. He also starts off the Microsoft malicious software removal tool, something he should have done right at the very start of this call.
And it's going to take more time than I thought it would take. Network, it is pointing towards some sort of network issue.
The next time Ricky calls, it's when the file system scan is completed. It did find one file which wasn't shut down correctly when the computer rebooted, but it's nothing to worry about. He's just dying to run the netstat command.
Okay, so I'm going to do a netstat right now. Okay, which means it tells us about how many computers or devices are connected to your IP address.
Netstat does indeed show connections to a PC, but scammers often use this as a way to fool people into thinking that they've got hackers connected.
Now, it says there are these many established connections.
Right.
Now, okay, so basically it means that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and 10. So basically it says that there are 10 devices connected to your router.
So he lies again. He cannot possibly tell what devices are connected to a router, only those devices connected to this PC.
3 or 2 devices which are genuinely connected, the rest are foreign connections, or you could say intrusions.
They're nothing of the sort, it's his own connection.
That's the reason you received that error, because as per the Scan and the diagnostic that I've done, it seems as if your IP address is compromised.
After this misdiagnosis, he gives me some dire warnings about what these people could do in my computer and how I would take the blame for their illegal activity.
You need two things. Okay, one is the IP masking.
More technobabble. IP masking is a thing, but it's got nothing to do with protecting an IP address.
And the other thing you may need, Cisco network security.
He goes on to describe what Cisco network security is, and he mixes up terms like SSL, firewall and network. He's obviously got his technical speak suited to someone who isn't used to computers, and it may sound convincing, but he's being far from honest.
5 years old, right. So in that case, there'll be a £50 charge for the cleanup.
Not only does Ricky offer a £50 cleanup charge, but he also offers a 1-year warranty, which would allow me to contact an 0800 number if I had a problem. At this point, I don't really know who the scamming organisation is, but usually their weak point is whenever they ask for a payment.
Right. How would you like to make the payment, sir? Would you want to do a bank transfer or you would want to pay with a card?
You can usually find out a good bit more about an organisation by asking them for their bank details, so this is what I opt for.
In that case, we will provide you with the bank details.
So he finally reveals the details of the company behind the scam. They're called Micro PC Support Limited, and the bank account number and details point to a bank account in Swindon in the UK. The invoice reference, as it turns out, is a fairly standard format for Micro PC Limited. I ask the scammer to send these details to me by email so I can find out a little more information. I tell him that I'll make the bank transfer by phone, and Ricky is happy enough to continue doing his work. I also tell him that I'll have to go in a few minutes, and I ask him for a phone number to ring him back on. This will reveal yet more information about his company.
That is 01444 390 617.
That is the number which appeared on my caller display, but it's not the 0800 number that I was looking for. A Google search reveals nothing about that number. I leave him on the computer for a little while, and about 30 minutes later he phones me back claiming that the payment didn't work. He gives me another Barclays bank account number, and this time the branch is in Edinburgh in Scotland. After he installs some useless ad blockers, I notice him fire up a remote file transfer program. The file is named networkprotection.exe. The file is being uploaded via the remote access software GoToAssist. He changes the directory to the desktop. Then he launches my antivirus program. He goes into its settings and disables any system scans. Once he's disabled the antivirus, he goes back to the file transfer. And he uploads an executable file to my desktop. He then quickly closes the file transfer window. He then re-enables my antivirus software. All of his actions are very deliberate. A look at my desktop reveals a new icon that wasn't on my desktop before. This new file was named networkprotection.exe and it was only 204 kilobytes long, and in the properties it described itself as restrict hacker. I uploaded this file to VirusTotal so that a number of virus checkers could analyse the file. Almost every one of them identified it as a proper virus. A search on the internet revealed that it's a polymorphic file infector, which means that it can change its behaviour. It also infects local drives and remote drives, so it's quite a nasty little virus. But to make matters even worse, I watched while the scammer opened up my email client and started rooting around my personal email. Don't forget, I told him that I wasn't at my keyboard and I would be back later. When he'd nosed around enough, he left me a note, and finally I had his 0800 number. So having done a bit of background research on his company, I asked him some questions. So whereabouts are you based?
We're based in Glasgow, sir.
Oh, right, okay. He's probably been told to say this because Micro PC Support Limited have got a registered address in Glasgow. The company directors are named Peter Church and Jagrat Gupta. There's links to this public information and the related companies in the description below. I challenge him some more. You can see my screen, right? Why did you lie about netstat?
I did not lie about netstat. If you close my connection and then check about netstat, you'll find exactly the same thing. Okay, if not the same thing, that may be something different, but then it was not something that which was influenced by myself or by the company. Okay, it was something
Hang
which
on,
was already
just a second. We'll go through this line by line then. Do you agree that MCS 3-2-ISP HTTPS, those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines, those first 6 lines are entirely this remote access client GoToAssist? Do you agree with that?
uh, well, to be honest, I would not have a lot of information on that. If you're a network engineer, you would know that better. Okay, but
Yeah.
have you tried running that yourself?
Yes. So you're connected at the moment, and I also have some web pages open, and you can see them there. So this group is entirely
Uh-huh.
your connection. Okay.
Well, that is something that
IMAP
I'm not.
S. IMAP
Mm-hmm.
S is the email client, as you know. Those are
Mm-hmm.
just loopback connections. These connections are closed, so
Uh-huh.
this is old web pages, and the remaining are all closed wait or time wait, so they've timed out. They're old connections. The only ones which are established, if you look at this, is my email client, which you can see open, loopback, and these, which are all your connection. Likewise, this screen is all your connection as well, except this is established because I had downloaded the GoToAssist client from Fast Support. That's why it was established, and you can see it's HTTP and HTTPS. There's no backdoors, there's no anything else. This is exactly what you would see if you just downloaded GoToAssist and had somebody connected, and we both know that.
No,
Oh,
you know
right,
that
okay.
because you're a network engineer. Okay,
Yeah,
I
exactly. You're lying
know.
to people when you say that there's only one or two of those connections. You're implying that that is the people connected to this computer, and there should only be one or two. That was your
Tell
exact
me,
words.
is 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 your real name Mr. Cart, like Orson Cart? That's not your real name, is it?
Correct. Nor is Ricky your correct name.
No, my name is Ricky. I
Oh,
mean,
come
I'm a
on, come on,
Christian, but
come
then,
on,
yeah.
come on. Oh, okay, right. I'll
But
ask you a very
Orson, to
simple
be
question.
honest, just be, see, I'll be very honest
Right,
to
I'll
you.
prove to
Okay,
you
I
that
do
you're lying.
understand that.
Okay, I'll prove that you're lying.
No, see,
Okay.
no, 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 no. Okay, Orson, there are things that you may not know. There are things that I may not know. Okay, and I
Are
may
you
say
Donald
things. Now
Rumsfeld here?
you are. Sorry.
That doesn't matter. I'll ask you a very simple question, and if you can answer it quickly, I might believe you.
Well, see, where is it all going? Like, see,
Because
I'm really confused with
you're
this. It
not in
seems as if,
Glasgow.
it seems as if you are trying to scam me right now.
Okay, I'll
To
ask
be
you
honest,
another.
yeah.
I'll ask you
Now,
another
why I
question. I'll
why
ask you
I
another
called you
question.
up?
What
See, it's
what?
question answered. So there's so many
Yeah,
questions you can ask me and
because
so
you're
many
lying,
answers that
and
I
I can
can
prove you're
answer,
lying. Now,
right?
if you listen to me for 1 second, I'll ask you one other question. What is the square at the centre of Glasgow called?
The square of a center of
Yeah,
Glasgow called.
what's the square at the centre of Glasgow called? Everybody in Glasgow knows this.
See, I've not been in Glasgow for a very long time. Talk to me about London, about maybe talk to me about Hayes, or talk to me about
Hounslow, Hounslow, yeah,
Hounslow, or
yeah.
you could talk to me about.
I cut short all of Ricky's excuses, and I look at my email and I find that the company have sent me an email. Ricky has signed it, and when I analyse the headers, it distinctly says that it has come from India, either Delhi or Mumbai. That matches what I see on Wireshark. When I look at micropcsupport.com, their website, I also see the same IP address for it. In part 2 of this video, something interesting appears in my keylogger. Aha, that must be some of their other customers, I think. I ask Micro PC support some very simple questions and get this.
And that's why we have been strictly advised not to talk to you on the phone.
And I get to speak to one other Micro PC support customer to see his experience.
She talked about paying. I said, hang on a minute, I've already paid.
So please hit the subscribe button if you haven't done already. I'm also available on Twitter at JimBrowning11, and if you can support me on Patreon, there's a link in the description below. Once again, thank you for watching.